Have you ever watched a show and wondered what was it that made you like it so much? Sometimes I find myself really enjoying certain shows, but I can't quite put my finger on what it is that truly makes the show special to me. Blue Box is a perfect example of this for me. Blue Box is a show I quickly took a liking to, and for a while I couldn't figure out why. While there are many things about the show that I enjoyed, such as the characters and storyline, one thing really stood out to me, and that was the way that hard work is represented within the show. I do plan on making a review video in the future where I'll talk about some of the other things I liked, but in this video I'll be heavily focused on that one aspect. There are plenty of shows I've watched that have a pretty strong theme about working hard to reach their goals, like Naruto and Demon Slayer. However, there's a few differences between how hard work is represented in those shows versus Blue Box. The biggest difference, of course, would be the fact that shows like Naruto and Demon Slayer are battle shonen with a type of power system, and Blue Box is just a romance anime that takes place in a realistic world. However, sports are a big part of Blue Box, and that's where the hard work comes in. The main characters I'll be talking about in this video are Taiki, Hina, Chinatsu, and Haruyu. These are four characters to me that are some of the best representations of hard work that I think I've ever seen in a fictional story. I'll start with Hina because she's the one that I have the least amount of things to say about. There's a couple reasons for that, but the main reason is just because we don't actually see Hina performing in rhythmic gymnastics all that much. However, throughout the story we are told many times how hard she works to be the best at what she does. And although at first it comes off as though she's just gifted at what she does, through some small moments in the show we really get to see Hina's dedication and the effort she puts into making sure she can maintain her high level of competitiveness. And when she went to the Nationals, we learned she finished third, and while it's obviously very good, she made it clear that she wasn't necessarily satisfied and wanted to finish first. Next, I'll talk about Haruyu, who happens to be a character I consider to be one of my favorites. Haruyu is a character who acts as a mentor for Taiki. He's considered the best badminton player at their school, and generally we see him win his matches with ease. Now the thing with Haruyu is that he's a year older than Taiki and Hina, but not as important as Chinatsu in terms of the story, so we don't quite get to see him as much in the story in terms of his own personal career, but we do get to see him a lot because of his connection to Taiki. And because of that connection, we learned that ever since the previous year when he was in his first year on the school's team, he had been consistently working to try and improve so he could beat Hyodo. To Haruyu, it seemed like no matter how much better he got or how hard he trained, he could never get past the hurdle that is Hyodo. We get to see Haruyu face off against Hyodo for one last time in the Nationals before Hyodo heads off to college. And although it was clear Haruyu had been improving and he was able to keep the match close, he unfortunately couldn't pull off the win. Haryu's situation is very realistic to me, and part of that comes from the fact that I'm a Bills fan. And as much as I hate to say it, even though we are improving, we are just unable to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. So in a way, I can understand why Haruyu feels the way he does in the show, which is not something I enjoy mentioning, but the connection is there. The next character is Chinatsu. She's in a relatively similar situation to Haruyu, but the difference with her that I mentioned earlier is that she's a very important character in the show, and therefore we get to see a lot more of the work she puts in. From the start of the show, we see that Chinatsu is always in the gym early and working on improving. She's regarded as the best basketball player on the team, which again is similar to how we saw Haruyu. The biggest moment for me was when Chinatsu had overheard a player on the opposing team say she'd be able to guard Chinatsu because she wasn't that special. This player happened to be on the team that beat Chinatsu's team in the finals in the previous year, and as luck would have it, they are meeting in the finals yet again. We saw time after time the amount of work Chinatsu put in to get better, and on top of that, she now had a chip on her shoulder to prove the person on the other team wrong. But despite all that, her team lost again. But it wasn't just the fact that they lost that really hurt, but the fact that we watched Chinatsu miss the game-winning shot. Time and time again, Blue Box shows just how even if you work hard, it's not always guaranteed success because your opponents are also working hard. And that leads me into my final character who had by far the best representation of hard work so far. Taiki is a character who's always striving to do better. He has a positive mindset and works extremely hard to be the best badminton player at their school. Yet he runs into many obstacles, with the first being Haruyu. Early on, it's clear Haruyu is better, and it's not really all that close. But in short time, Taiki managed to improve to where he could keep up with Haruyu but still couldn't beat him. However, when we get a scene where Taiki is able to win a game against Haruyu, Not only does it give Taiki the confidence that he'll be able to reach the Nationals, but as the viewer, we also start to believe in him. But once Taiki makes it to Nationals, he gets eliminated in the first round. It's a moment that comes off as very humbling. It's the reason why I wanted to make this video, and the entire reason why I think hard work is represented so well in Blue Box. But with Taiki, it doesn't stop there. The solo match he lost in the Nationals was against a character named Yusa. The way the story was going, it seems like Yusa was going to be Taiki's version of Hyodo for Haru. But just a bit later in the story, during a practice match, Taiki beats Yusa. Now Taiki pushed himself to his absolute limits in order to pull it off, but it showed that he is closing the gap, and yet again there's hope he'll actually be able to compete in the Nationals next time. Now, since Blue Box only has one season at the moment, it doesn't cover a second Nationals arc, but it seems very likely that we'll get one in the future. And I'm excited to see how it plays out for Taiki, since we have yet to truly see his hard work pay off. Thank you for watching my video discussing what makes Blue Box so special to me. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to my channel for more content like this in the future. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.